Good evening. I'm Jerry McIntosh, and this is Our Voices, the People's Media. Tonight, we're going to talk again about redistricting and the Supreme Court's looking at the Civil Rights Bill. So we're going to talk about that and other hot topics. First, we'll go to our host, Mr. Derek Scott, who's with the Escambia County Democrat. He's the chair of the Escambia County Democrat Party here. Jill Lewis Dagg, who was also with the Okaloosa Democrat Party and the Black Caucus. Mr. Vernon Watson, who was with WBQP TV, who was the owner of WBQP TV, and where you'll be watching this show on Roku, Fire Stick, YouTube, and of course our Facebook pages. So we'll turn it back to Derek.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. I hope everybody had a phenomenal week. And as we typically do, we will start off the show with our weekly things you should know. So I will start with you, Mr. McIntosh. What do you have for us today?
Just real quick, the Carol McIntosh Scholarship Fund has been, the Carol McIntosh, scholarship has been extended into a couple more weeks in August. So people that want to apply, they can apply, pick up an application from myself, or they can call me at 850-206-3776, or they can go by Jacqueline Harris Preparatory Academy, where Miss Celestine Lewis is the CEO over there, and pick up a scholarship application. This application, we need it back in as soon as possible so we can really look at who we're going to give the scholarship to. And we wish we could give it to everybody, but we can't. But we'll do the best we can in the next year. Barrett.
Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I was going to go to Jill, but I guess she is gone. So I will come back to Jill and go to you, Mr. Vernon. What do you have first?
Okay. The only thing I got is the NAACP in Santa Rosa County next week. They're going to have their annual fundraising drive, and that's the only thing I can think of right now. Did you hear me?
Yes, you said annual fund drive?
Yeah, the NAACP annual fund drive in Santa Rosa County. So I believe that's the only thing that I got on my calendar.
Okay. Yeah, it is indeed. In fact, next week on the 22nd or 23rd, I'm not sure which one.
23rd, it's Friday.
No, so the 23rd is Saturday. So
Saturday. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Sounds good. Thank you for that. All right, Jill, what do you have today?
Hi, how are you? I had to go get my list. I thought I had it all in front of me, and I didn't. Let me go sneak and get it before Derek calls on me. Are we talking about equal ground now, or we want to talk about that after this?
Just
okay. So our upcoming things that we have, the Okaloosa County DEC has their meeting on Tuesday. They have a mixer at 5, and Gabe Alamont will be attending, I believe, although she's under the weather, so maybe it's just going to be her team. So we send prayers out and hope that she feels better soon. And then the NAACP Florida State Conference takes place September 7th in Orlando, and that weekend, and they are also having their annual golf tournament. So just letting you know that. Then Okaloosa County NAACP has membership discounts through Monday. So $17.50 online or $15 in person if you register to or become a member or renew your membership by Monday. And then the 33rd Annual Freedom Fund Banquet is November 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Social hour starts at 5. The location is the Niceville Community Center. located at 204 C Parton Drive, Niceville, Florida, right next to the Niceville Library. And then couples date night is on September 19th, 2025 from 7 to 8:30 p.m. And last but not least, I gotta get the name right or Derek will get me. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Rho Omicron Lambda Chapter presents Boys to Men Seminar 2025. That is Saturday, September 13th, 2025, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it's being held at, let me see where it's at, 202 Highway 85 North, Suite A in Niceville, Florida. And I do have one more thing. The Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated Gamma Alpha Epsilon Zeta chapter is having their blue carpet affair, Grand 90s and Finer 2000 swag event. And that will take place on October 25th, 2025. Their social hours from 6 to 6:30. And it will be held at 1446 Commerce Drive, Crestview, Florida. And that is the Crestview Community Center that is next to the Crestview Library and or their Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And fortunately, I don't think we have any updates specifically for Santa Rosa County. So we will move on. Oh, I will say that the Santa Rosa County Democratic Party meeting is going to be this Thursday coming. If you have questions or you would like to get more information on that, please reach out. Feel free to reach out to either myself or Dr. BJ Brunius or Santa Rosa Democrats. You can go to their Facebook page and they will have more information on that. As we move on to Escambia County, the Escambia County Democratic Executive Committee, or the Escambia Democratic Party, will have its meeting on this Tuesday, the 19th, which is at 5:30 p.m. We are going to meet at the Tryon Branch Library, which is on Langley Avenue here in Pensacola. We also have a Zoom option. If you can't make it and you just want to be a part, you can join us via Zoom. You can email us at escambiadems, that ESCAMBIADEMS at outlook.com to get that information on how to join us via Zoom. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you in person. Also, the Escambia County Democratic Black Caucus will have their meeting this Thursday at 5:45 p.m. It is held via Zoom. You can reach out either to myself or you can reach out to Escambia Democratic Black Caucus at ECDDC, that's Escambia County Democratic Black Caucus, ECDDC _ at outlook.com. Again, that's ECDDC _ at outlook.com and get more information on how to join us there. We will be pleased to have a guest from the 5051 organization to talk with us about the protests that are happening nationally, as well as here in Escambia County, and how you can get involved with that. So be sure to join us for that. As we move forward, we get closer to the end of into September actually, on Monday, September 1st, here in Pensacola, between the hours of 9 a.m. to 12 noon, the 5051 Pensacola will have the Workers Over Billionaires protest and rally. It's to start off Solidarity September. And that's again going to be on Monday, September 1st, between 9 a.m. and 12 noon. And that's at Seville Square, located at 311 East Government Street here in Pensacola, downtown Pensacola. So please make sure you look out for that. Join us for that. There are a lot of events that are happening. We ask that you join us, participate, engage. We'd love to see you out. You see us, but we don't see you. So when you stop us, I know several of you I've run into who are viewers, run into in various places who say, hey, I watch you on Sunday. And I'm like, great, I appreciate that. So these are opportunities to engage and join us, and we'd love to meet you in person when we can. So that is all that I have for Escambia County. Now, we can talk about the big thing. And this past Saturday, I'll say Friday and Saturday, but really Saturday, we were fortunate enough to have Equal Ground. Equal Ground joined Northwest Florida, came to Northwest Florida, particularly in Fort Walton Beach, for their 2025 legislative session debrief on the ground tour. And I will turn it over to Jill, since she was the host county, to talk about it and give her thoughts.
Okay, well, for those of you who joined us, thank you so much. For those of you that watched via, I believe, Tamara Moon live streamed it as well, we thank you for coming. It was, as Derek said, we really started Friday. We set up everything on Friday. So shout out to, of course, Derek Scott from Escambia, Elaine Reed and Christina Forrest from Santa Rosa, BJ, who was behind the scenes helping as well. You know, he's a doctor, so he had to do his doctor duty, but he absolutely was a part of this. To Mr. McIntosh, to the NAACPs across the three counties, to the Black Caucuses across the three counties, and then a special thanks to Linda Scott, who hung out with us the whole time, and to Tamara Moon, who was my partner in crime for all that we had to get put together. It was an amazing time, I think, for all of us. Well, I'll speak for myself. It was great to have. Oh, you scared me there. I thought my stuff was going off there. You switched the screen. I was like, oh no, they lost me again. Okay. We went to dinner. And so we went to dinner Friday night after we set everything up. You know, welcome to Jackie Steele. She is brand new to the team. And it was great to sit around, to talk, to be able to like take all the hats off that we wear and just be real people and conversate. So Derek's showing you some of the pictures. There's Jerry and Lewis. We had some wonderful signs that we had up. And then we did give Genesis an award. And I'm sure Derek will read what we did because I don't have that in front of me and I know he did. But those were our partners: Real Women Radio, Movement for Change, the Northwest Panhandle Coalition for Civic Engagement. And the three of us have been there since the beginning when they came to Escambia. And I will say that Genesis always surprises Mr. McIntosh and his late wife. And so we did flip the switch this time. And afterwards he said, you know, you guys caught me off guard. I wanted to cry, but I couldn't cry from all those people. So I will jump back in, but I'd love to hear from those of you that were there, what your thoughts were. And then I'll come back in maybe towards the end. So Derek, Mr. McIntosh.
Oh, yeah, Mr. McIntosh.
Yeah, it was really, really great to be there. I mean, the breakfast was good, especially. I think I ate too many donuts though. Yesterday morning. Can y'all hear me?
No, we can hear. I was about to say, did you eat a donut off the donut wall that Derek?
Yeah, but that's why
I didn't show that picture just then.
Yeah, I got one off of off the donut wall. But anyway, everything was really, really nice. Genesis broke down everything really well. I mean, I recorded the whole thing, his whole presentation, so I can go back and look at it and get a better understanding by looking at it again, even though I understood what he was saying and how the legislation going to affect us and how the people are trying to take our voting rights and the super majorities that's in these states that are, just really running shotgun over the Democrats and how they have redrawn us out of a lot of these districts where you got a majority Democrats, Republicans are in the majority in the representatives as far as House seats and Senate seats. And I'll flip it back to you, Jill.
Okay, so while Derek is not here, we'll just go over. So we did have, and I'm sure Derek's going to pull it up, but they had scheduled, as you know, across the United States, they had the rally against, or the reality of what Trump really was. I don't know what the real name of it is. Derek, I'm kind of filling in, hoping you're going to jump in because you know who they were that came. But that group had set up to have a rally protest in Fort Walton. They reached out to Equal Ground and they wanted Equal Ground to partner. And because Equal Ground was already coming to us and we had the availability in the space, they also joined us. So we had not only everybody that signed up for Equal Ground, but also those that signed up for the rally. And they joined in and said that many of them said that they were excited that they came and that they got that kind of education, that they truly understood what they were fighting for, what they were up against. In layman's terms, again, one of the specialties that Equal Ground does is that they're able to share information with us at a level that you can understand no matter how engaged or involved you are in politics. And so I'm going to hand it back over to Derek for his review, and then I'll come back on.
You muted, Derek.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there, and my screen keeps going. I just want to, before we move on, just to let you know, Jill, Mr. McIntosh is being nice to you because everybody's going for the Danishes and the things on the donut sticks. They're not going on the wall. Just FYI, I'm just trying to be helpful so you could see it truly for yourself.
Okay, and so Derek has this one, because we like to do this on the show, so we're just real people. Derek has this wonderful way of taking one picture and saying that's everybody. So Jerry and Lewis, you're everybody. There was over 95 people there. So Jerry and Lewis went for the Danishes. But the board, if you show the picture, you'll see there's 15, I believe, places that are missing. So they did eat 15 donuts off the wall. See the little pegs? 1, 2, 3, and behind him. And there's 2 down here too. And there's 2 down there. 4. And that's 4. And there's 4 more in the other picture. So they did eat some of the donuts off the donut wall. They did also think that the donut wall, I guess, I don't know, we're familiar with donut walls, but maybe that's that other side of me that y'all say I'm not whatever enough, whatever. But we're familiar with donut walls. So donut walls are not up there for you to say these are the kind of donuts. They are for you to reach and take the donut off the donut wall. But anyway, we digress. Back to Equal Ground and what happened. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, what I will tell you is that we had a phenomenal time. You know, I wanted to be clear that we had, despite people trying to have events that countered our events, we had almost 100 people from across the Panhandle, from Escambia, from Santa Rosa, from Okaloosa, from Walton, Dade counties. Even somebody raised their hand and said they came from Miami-Dade County. Like there were people from all over, just people trying to do their best to undermine what had happened. So, you know, I just want to say it was great. I think if you've been to one of the Equal Ground legislative session debriefs, you will know that they are absolutely a phenomenal time. They are like you get information, but it's like a family gathering, right? I talked to people who are like, "Oh, I didn't know that this was a thing. What? I don't remember this happening." And there's a lot of learnings. We had people who showed up who still, as much as we talk about it on this show, still were unaware that vote by mail had to be renewed after every election cycle or every 2 years. So people get nuggets of information that we always take for granted, that we think we talk about enough that people would know, that still don't know. So if one person was reached that can tell other people that may not know the information, then I will always consider it a success. I mean, it was great. The information was great. And I think what was also great is that we got, number one, after Equal Ground was done, we had a phenomenal catered lunch, thanks to U.S. Delivery Foods, Mr. Seymour, Mr. Jerry Seymour.
Jerry Seymour, yeah.
Who cooked teriyaki chicken. He cooked
Lemon chicken,
lemon chicken. Yeah, lemon chicken. This phenomenal cabbage,
cabbage.
was absolutely phenomenal. This great mixed rice, a macaroni salad. There were at least 20 different kinds of desserts, thanks to Mr. Lyden and the bakery in Okaloosa that is called
I don't know their bakery. I just
Lyden's
know
Bakery.
Lyden. Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to go Lyden and sister. Huge
Lyden and
shout
Lyden's
out.
Bakery.
Yes.
So if you know Lyden, you know his bakery, right? It was great. But then even afterwards, we came together to talk about it was great. We heard here's what happened. And we had an afternoon session that said, here's what needs to happen. So we had great presentations from the Engage All PAC. Engage All is the PAC that was created by our candidate who ran for Congressional District 1, Ms. Gay Valamont, who's going to be talking about whose sole purpose is to help underserved candidates in smaller areas or who are not as visible come through and talk about that. So we had an awesome presentation on how they're going to help candidates. We got a chance to hear from one of our shows, a recurring guest host, Phil Lair and Dr. Vanessa Brito of the Air Force PAC, who did a wonderful synopsis of their engagement in 2025 in the special elections that were for Gay and Dondre in the Florida House District 3 race for Santa Rosa and Okaloosa County. And then we culminated and talked about what our next steps were. And I think our next steps, as we all know, is we're behind the eight ball, but we are going to do what we can to make sure that everybody gets out. There are a lot of issues that are impacting us on a daily level. It's now time for us as folks who are engaged and involved to start connecting the dots, start connecting the blue tarps that currently exist on people's roofs to the votes that they cast in the midterm and presidential elections, to connect the loss of your SNAP benefits, your Affordable Care Act benefits, your Medicaid benefits, to the votes that you cast in the midterm and the presidential election. These things all go together. Like I hear people always say, "Oh, I don't do politics." Well, that's okay, because what it's not okay, but what you will know is even though you don't do politics, politics does you. And so it's time for us to get engaged and get involved in that. So we had a great conversation. So I certainly, on behalf of what we did, I just want to say thank you again to the partners for that participated in the legislative session debrief. And just so we're clear, I want to recognize Equal Ground and Greater Peace Missionary Baptist Church for housing us. U.S. Delivery Foods, Jerry Seymour, the Northwest Florida Panhandle Coalition for Civic Engagement, of course, our very own Movement for Change, Real Women Radio Foundation, the Okaloosa and Santa Rosa branches of the NAACP, my president, President Regis Thomas, of NAACP Branch 5124, and my treasurer, Ms. Ingrid Davis of NAACP Branch 5124. The Democrats for Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa County, as well as the Black caucuses for Okaloosa, Santa Rosa, and Escambia County. So we had a blast. It would turn out, but what I will say is that that's okay if you missed it. It's unfortunate, but what I will say is that you can. There's always 2026. In 2026, they'll be returning to the Panhandle. I'm going to assume most likely to the Escambia County because we're starting rotation back all over again. And so you'll get a chance to hear them again and come on out. If you don't even want to wait for that long, you can join us in March for the Day at the Capitol that we put around. We have a bus that happens every year. I know it alternates based on the election cycle. So I think it's March this year, maybe so. But there is just that information. So join us then. We'll get you information on how to catch the bus, not the Greyhound, but a charter bus that will take you to Tallahassee and as we move forward. But I did want to just show the photo that Jill was talking about. This is all of us we planned on Friday night. We got together and did all the hard work to make sure that it was set up. We missed you, Mr. McIntosh, but there's our keynote, Mr. Genesis Robinson, as well as Jackie from Equal Ground there. And then, of course, there's Jill in between the two of them, and Tamara and Elaine and Christina and Linda Scott. Yeah,
Linda Scott with her movie star smile. Let's go.
Look at her, right? She's out and engaged and did her thing. So we certainly want to say thank you. And as Jill mentioned, we did provide Genesis and Equal Ground an award, and that award was the Civic Impact Award. And it read, presented to Equal Ground in recognition of your unwavering commitment to civic engagement, voter education, and grassroots advocacy throughout Northwest Florida. Your work has uplifted communities, amplified underrepresented voices, and strengthened democratic participation across our region through strategic outreach, coalition building, and fearless dedication to equity. Equal Ground has become a beacon of progress and empowerment. We honor your leadership in advancing justice, fostering inclusive civic spaces, and ensuring that every voice counts. Your impact resonates far beyond the ballot box. It inspires a movement. With deep gratitude and admiration, Northwest Florida Panhandle Coalition for Civic Engagement, Movement for Change, and Real Women Radio Foundation. So we are just forever grateful for the partnership that has become from the Northwest Florida Panhandle and Equal Ground, and we look forward to their continued engagement as we move forward.
I think the only thing I'll add to that is that I definitely want to thank Greater Peace for allowing us to utilize their facilities. They were also, thank you, Deacon. He was the one that suggested the caterer, and the caterer pulled through last minute within the last week. He was like, absolutely, I'll do it for you. And he knocked it out the park. And then Leiden was like, hey, I'll bake for you guys, so you don't have to worry about that. So that side of it was taken care of. A special shout out to Sabu. So Sabu, thank you for allowing us to use or getting us the connection, because the church had to say yes for the presentation. We're glad that you joined us to help us get everything working. Once you got there, we were able to get started and move forward. So for that, we thank you. And then we stayed with him and made sure everything was cleaned up, because you always want to leave a place better than you found it. And just really an exciting time to say, you know what? Some things that you didn't know, you know now. Some things that you knew. I think Derek is right. You have to now start putting all the pieces together. And what I really like in our second session is that we're not leaving you with just information. So Genesis breaks it down, and he absolutely, and the partners, we had, Derek, what's the name of the partners that came? Do you remember?
The other folks?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. You said what?
Those that were in the back
Black
table.
votes, Black voters.
And we say that they came in at the last moment for us, but Equal Ground knew they were coming, and they came all the way from, I thought he said New York or something. They flew in just for this event. So that was exciting. They enjoyed it so much, they wanted to connect with us when we do the next one. So just overall, to get that many people together, the people that were there were the people that were supposed to be there. Those of you that really did try to somewhat sabotage something that is so needed. I don't believe, and I can say this because I wasn't in that mess, so I'm going to say it. It was absolutely not boring. It was not boring beyond belief. A matter of fact, so many people said that they, rather than waving signs and being outside, that team, that's what they came for. They were happy that they were sitting butts in the seats inside of the church to be able to get the education that they needed, so they can actually know why they're protesting, waving a sign, and do the work that needs to be done. And so, and it was multicultural. There was some of everybody there. So no, it's not just for Black and brown people. There was everybody there. And that's what makes community community. So maybe just think about that when you're moving forward, because that's how we're going to get through this. If we continue to do your silos and then your purposeful exclusions and rhetoric and untruths, then we become them, and we can't win that way. And so until we decide that you really do need us, because we are strong and resilient with and without you, but you need us. Look at the elections and know that you need people that look like us. And we already know we need you. It's not our issue, it's yours, and I need you to fix it. And so if you would have been in that room, you would have understood that equal ground is fighting for everybody. The issues that plague Black and brown communities plague you either now or very soon in the future. You might not believe it, but we're just saying. Okay, I'm gonna stop. So I'm just glad that they came. I'm glad. I can't wait till next year. Escambia will put on a phenomenal, well, we're assuming it'll be in Escambia. I don't think they'll make us move it from Pensacola. Do you think they'll make us move it from city to city? That would be crazy. But wherever, maybe it'll be in Cantonment. And Jerry, where you are, you might have to find a place. It's still Escambia, but they might want different locations, because Genesis said that. I like that we have it at different locations. And I was like, you want us to have it at a different place? Okay. So I just, again, want to say a very special thank you. You had a wonderful team with you, Derek, of individuals that traveled early in the morning to come over from Escambia. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell them thank you so much. I know it was a long day. I think you guys left at about 6:30 and probably didn't get home till 4:30. And so to believe in the commitment of community and traveling that far, I'm sure it's equal ground, because I know you guys love Genesis and you guys do all this stuff, but Okaloosa County is truly thankful and grateful for the commitment from the partners, from the people, and from our friendship and work relationship that we have with Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa County. Thank you.
And I just want to also say, because you asked me to mention, we also were fortunate enough to have partnered with another group that came. There were some folks that weren't expecting to get the presentation that they got, but there was Equal Ground partnered with a group called Fight the Trump Takeover, and Saturday they had a national day of action. And that day of action, when you scroll down, the one that they put was for our event there in town. So it was great to have them come aboard, and they have, like, you see all of these partners, AFL, Texas Freedom, Public Defense. There are just a lot, Public Citizen. There's a lot of different partners, that came out and were part of this event. Equal Ground is in there, Indivisible, Planned Parenthood, Fort Branch Action, Working Families Party. There are just a lot of folks that came out and partnered for this National Day of action. So it was great to have them. I think they were expecting a rally and got education, and were more excited that we did this, because this was impactful, a lot of knowledge, and certainly didn't have to stand outside in the heat. So we thank those people who came and joined us for that. So all in all, it was a great event. And I'm happy I'm glad that we're done with it for this year, because it does take a lot of work and planning. But we look forward to getting engaged and doing this all over again next year. So I will turn it back over to you, Mr. McIntosh.
Yeah, just want to talk about the redistricting now, and Texas they're still drawing lines to draw out, Abbott, they were still trying to chase down the Democrats. They were talking about they're going to put the FBI on them to get them back so they can have a quorum, so they can take away their districts. And I was listening to Roland Martin. I don't know if y'all seen his presentation. He said the way they're drawing districts now, that 30 congressional district, black congressional district could be gone this year if the Supreme Court has its way. They could just, with a stroke of a pen, wipe out 30 black congressional districts. You know, we have, I think it's 60. We had something like 62 at one time, 63, but now it's down to 60, and they are trying to cut that to remove so many of us from the position of political power. And that's something that we really, really need to think about. And, you know, to redraw the districts in mid-decade, for one thing, should be illegal because it's only supposed to be done after the census. But they are doing it now in mid-decade. Jill, what's your thought?
You know, when we were at dinner, Genesis was sharing with us that this is the third time. So he said it started way back in 1990, I think he said. But anyway, that first time, and they just keep doing it, and it keeps getting worse and worse. And unfortunately, I think we shouldn't be surprised. We are, and we're shocked. But I'm not surprised that that's who's going to be most impacted, because the person in the White House has made it clear that Black and brown people will be minimized into where he believes that we should be sitting. So the fact that that's what he's trying to do, I don't know how we fight back. I don't know how you change this. I don't know why. I know why the Supreme Court is the way they are, but I don't know why they're the way they are, if that makes sense. Like, you're supposed to look at everything and make it fair. And if it's not supposed to happen until the census, then it shouldn't happen to the census. There should be no wavering from that. That isn't a Trump rule. That isn't a Democratic rule. That's just a freaking rule. But, you know, all rules they don't follow. You know, you try not to get so upset, but yet every day it's something. And I don't know if I'm more upset at them, those that are in leadership that do nothing, or that acquiesce, or that just have a blind eye, or this is really what their heart is, because I can't trust. Some people, I think it's all three. Some people are really just, okay, I didn't see it. Some people are, I don't want to deal with it. And then some people are like, yeah, I agree. And I think I'm more upset at the people who aren't upset, that aren't saying something, that aren't doing something. It's like you see it all, and you see all of the negative things that are happening, and yet they do nothing. They still are like, oh yeah, I'm going to go over here and do this, or it's not this big deal. Or, you know, for Democrats, stop freaking fighting each other. Fight the freaking devil, not each other. But we can't figure that out. For Republicans and MPAs and anybody else who might have voted for this person that's in the White House, wake the freak up. Speak up, do something, or just come out. I think might be Jerry and Vernon said that you like people that just come out and tell you they are who they are, or come out and say, you know what, Democrat, Republican, MPA, and all this is who we are. So we can put you over there and know that's who you are. So you can stop pretending. That goes for the local people too.
Yeah. I just want to say, like, I think we should give a big shout out, kudos, and congratulations to the Texas lawmakers, because, you know, especially the Democratic folks who risked it all, because as of Friday, a second special session for a Texas legislator was called Friday after the House failed to make quorum for the sixth time in a row, simply because the Democrats left the state protesting the redistricting plan that is drawn to favor Republicans in the 2026 midterm elections. So really, after the failing to reach quorum this past Tuesday, for the fifth time this week, they said if they can't reach quorum again on Friday, this past Friday at 10 a.m., then they will wrap up their session. And come Friday at 10 a.m., they had 95 lawmakers present. So that absolutely didn't make them meet quorum, allow them to not make quorum. So Governor called for the second special session, which started Friday at 12 noon. And there were 97 lawmakers present, which again did not make quorum. So they're going to reconvene on Monday, and still they more than likely will not have quorum met. So again, I just want to say kudos to them. I wish there was I don't know if there's a GoFundMe or a place where we could donate to the Texas Democrats, the Texas State Democrats, for allowing them, because they risked everything. They put their livelihoods in jeopardy. And I don't mean this BS about they issued warrants for them to be arrested and all that stuff. But be clear, they faced physical threats. Like if you recall, the guy, was it Pritzker in Illinois, the governor, he had them held up in his hotels. I don't know if y'all know, he's like the heir to the Hyatt hotels, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I didn't realize that. Like, so he has much money, right?
Yeah, he's a billionaire.
Yeah, right. So he put them up at Hyatt's in Illinois. And these people called in bomb threats to try to get them out of the hotel. So they put them in harm's way, right? So they put themselves in harm's way. They put themselves in dire financial straits, because I am certain that everybody, for the length of time that they were gone, exhausted any type of vacation time that they had earned or accrued at their places of employment. Because again, everybody has a second job, or at least unless they're independently wealthy, because they only make $600 a month. So that certainly is not anything that you can base your livelihood on. And then they spent time away from their families, put their families in jeopardy, their staffs. So like, this is a huge deal. And the fact that they were able to thwart an entire special session that was called, they did that. Like, when have you ever heard, certainly we can't do that in Florida, but Texas sure can. They got it done. Like, and then they're calling, he's like, okay, I'm going to call a second special session. They're probably not going to have quorum there. I mean, we know that they can't continue on this pattern through 2026, but if they can hold out for as long as they can, and if we can chip in to support them holding out as long as they can, I think that's something that we should all do, because while we have it, because we might be in a situation where democracy is gone and we got to turn over monies anyway, so at least if we can go to fight the good cause, let's do that. But I am more than proud of the Texas Democrats that I don't know, couldn't call not one name except that one lady's name. Who was about it. I appreciate her. And I'm in awe of what they were able to accomplish.
Yeah, they did a great service to the American people, because now the American people know what the Republicans are doing and intend to do across the whole country. And that's gerrymandering out their representatives. And especially the African American brown representatives, they are gerrymandering them out, redrawing them out of their own districts. It happened here, and DeSantis are talking about doing it again. So it's just a whole host of things that they are doing. That's really immoral and demonic, when you really think about it, that what these people are doing, and they doing it and don't care. I mean, they don't care anything about democracy anymore. And for people to believe that they do, it's not going to happen. They don't care. They are willing to burn this place down to the ground as far as democracy is concerned. So they can a few of them can hold on to power. And that's unfortunate.
And Jerry, I think that they don't think they're burning it down. They think they're creating what it should have always been. So that's why they don't care. It's because they don't see it that way. What they see is the opportunity to take back what they should have always had, to stop having to act like we matter, to erase every part of us.
Yeah.
And until they do that, I don't think that they see it as burning the place down. I don't think that they see it as stopping democracy. I think they see it as, you're right, it's all about power. I'm sure we'll get into my vision of what the power in hell or in the basement of hell is, but
one of the things that Trump is doing is trying to scare the bejesus out of people by putting all these National Guard troops and military troops on the streets, as well as him trying to force, because he called Governor, he called Abbott out there in Texas, told him to get him 5 seats, just like he tried to do in Atlanta, in Georgia, when he asked for 11,000 votes. So it's the same program, different year that he's trying to do. But I want to talk to you all about. And before we do that, we'll go to section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. It's before the Supreme Court now that they're going to hear this case. Section 2. It's the last vestige of the Voting Rights Act. Section 5 of the 4 and 5 of the Voting Rights Act has been destroyed. It has no teeth in it anymore. And now they're going after section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which was the last thing we had, I would say legal rights that we have to sue on the basis of voting rights. And if they get rid of that, what do people think going to happen? Because once they get rid of that means it's going to be even harder to vote in states, because it's going to fall back under states' rights. And under states' rights, they had all kinds of stuff set up starting way back in the early 1800s, all the way up to 1964 and 65, during the Voting Rights Act. Excuse me. It was asking people, if you want to vote, how many jelly beans in this jar? How many suds in a bar of soap? This kind of stupidity. Poll tax, which now Jennings talked about it yesterday. He hit on it yesterday. A poll tax, you telling people they have to go get a passport. First, they got to get their birth certificate. Then they have to get a passport, because you got to have your birth certificate to get a passport. So you're gonna end up being close to $300-400 just to be able to vote in the country. And there are people who are still saying, that it's no reason to vote anyway. Going to do what they want to do anyway, and they will if you allow them to. If you give up your right to participate in the process, people will do that. They will make as what Vernon called a dough man out of you, because that's what they are doing. But it's time for us to realize that voting is one of the keys to getting people put in power that we want to represent us. And the only way you're going to do that is to register to vote, get out and vote, and help others to vote as well.
No, I agree with everything you all say. Again, this is going to be 2026 is going to be a critical tournament, right? And when we look at this, again, we have to look at in its entirety why people are doing what they're doing. And deep down inside, the Republicans know that they mucked up with this big, beautiful bill passed. If it was so great and everything's as peachy keen as they are, there would be absolutely no need for Donald Trump to attempt to pick up additional seats in Congress. There just wouldn't, because people should be pleased as punch with what's happening, right? There should be no need to do anything else. But you see, people are not. I don't think they're immune from hearing the voices. There's no way possible that they believe that everything is going the way it is. I think they continue to espouse the same message that we're doing great, everything's great. We support the current administration, but everybody knows that that's a malarkey. And at this point in time, that they are struggling. They're going to continue to struggle. It's going to see some progress. So this is our time to capitalize. I think a lot of people think we're on the precipice of change. I think people are starting to get more engaged. I mean, I'll speak for here in Escambia County, and I think Mr. Max, you would probably echo the sentiments. We're seeing people like, I use the Fricker Center as a point of contention for what we're seeing, right? When you think about it, in theory, a renovation for a community center shouldn't draw as much controversy and people coming out as this has, right? But it's not just the Fricker Center. It's a culmination of the Fricker Center, plus firing of Chief Randall, plus this land grab that people are seeing. It's a combination of things that are just bringing everything to a boiling point. And we're seeing, I'm going to these meetings, I've seen people I have never seen, voices that I have never heard in my entire life. People are getting active. They're out in the field, right? And so I'm like, okay, this is something that we just don't, at least from my perspective, I just have not seen here locally in, I guess, forever, really. And so it's now, and it's not that people are, it's not that people are speaking out. It's like who, and I don't want to say the type, but typically people that I would say are unengaged or not necessarily as civic minded, they're out and about and ready to go. So I'm hoping this fuels some fire. It fuels them to bring some change. What are you saying?
Yeah, I agree, Derek, because I was surprised because they changed they changed the timing of the meeting to 8 o'clock in the morning, thinking that no one was going to be there. We got there. It was almost a full house there in the Fricker Center in the gymnasium. So it was. I know they were surprised when they got there. But the thing about it, people know that when you're talking about putting the kind of money they are putting in the Fricker Center, that's a long-term plan to get rid of the African American community around there, because they're building $600,000 houses all up around there, and gentrification is pushing out the Black people in that area, and the tax base, the taxes are going to push the rest of them out because the affordability of it is going to be difficult if you're not making $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 a year. And so, with the average wage around $50,000 a year, in that area, and even less, most people won't be able to afford to live there anymore. And so this is why people are pushing back against them, because they know that when they put that money in there for the Fricker Center, and people have been asking for the Fricker Center to be renovated for years to put in better acoustics, so when they have events down there, you can hear. But all of a sudden, when the when whites go in to gentrify, okay, we can put $9 million in the Franklin Center now. We can change everything. So it's really, and people understand that this is considered waterfront property, and they know that pretty soon that waterfront property gonna cost them more than enough gonna cost them more than just being called waterfront property, because they're gonna have to, many of them gonna have to leave, just like they did before. Was that Eric and Court?
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric and Court, where housing was for them, for the poor, the disenfranchised, but they moved them out. And I remember when I was on radio talking about it, like they were moving them like, like they didn't even care. Like, hey, we don't care where you go, but you got to go. And we were trying to secure housing for those people who were being displaced down there. But they did it anyway, because the people didn't have the finances to fight it like they should. They put it on, oh, these places flooded. But they knew it was flooding all along. But they once they removed the people, they tore down all the housing, and then they started building $500,000, $200,000 to $500,000 houses in there. Now those houses on the waterfront worth over $1 million, and that's been some years ago. So that show you how things can change overnight, and you can be displaced, and nobody even look back to care about what happened to you. And this is why we are saying it's so important to vote, to participate, because if you see this happening where people do vote, think about if you don't have the right to vote. And this is where we are headed as under authoritarian, totalitarian dictator like Trump, who was putting troops talking about crime, and the greatest criminal is in the White House himself. But talking about crime, he's the one been convicted of 34 crimes. He's the one been adjudicated as a rapist. There's other women out there have came forward now and said that he have allegedly that he have raped them as well. So when they was children, 12, 13 years old. So it's, the real criminals are in the White House and in the Senate and in the House, these House Republicans, and they are busting them every day. Some of them. All right. You go ahead, Gia.
Okay. So, not that I disagree with anything that you guys are saying, but I have to say I love that my dear friend, Mr. Scott, has such a positive outlook on what we're seeing. So is he absolutely correct? There are more people coming to different events, people that we haven't seen, people engaging. Absolutely. But I can recall September, maybe August, September 2024, when we switched from Biden over to Harris, and they came to the Panhandle. And I think Escambia, you had like 100 people, and we had over 200 people. And at least 100 of those people we had never, ever seen. And then as they went across, it just kept getting larger and larger. And so you had thousands of people doing all of this work. However, they still put him in the White House. They still voted for him. So I need to see more than new faces. I do appreciate that people are feeling the need to go out and to engage, to go to the meetings, to speak up. But it takes so much more than that, because speaking up, even in those times, so I'm not talking about the people that are waving signs, I'm talking about people that are actually at these meetings, going to the podium, speaking up. That is not voting. And there is an absolute difference. Because if that's all it took, then we would not have him in the White House. because we had the momentum. We raised the money. I mean, people, what was it? Women for Black women, white women, old white men for Kamala. It was everything out there
for Harris.
Yes, and it did not work that way. So for me, and then I know, Jerry, you just said that more people are coming out, but they put him in the White House. They knew he was a criminal. They knew he raped people. They knew he touched people. They knew he is who he is. And they still put him there. So I guess for me, I guess I'm going to be Vernon. I really thought you would have jumped on this. I got to be Vernon and Bill. No, I have to be Vernon because Bill, you thought he was never going to win. So never mind. I'm going to be Vernon for a moment and just say, I don't want to let can you believe it, Vernon? Like, I called you back up. I need you to come on because I'm waiting for Vernon to say, are y'all crazy? No, that ain't enough. No. But before you go, because I know Vernon wants to say something, I do want to do a shout out to our former president of the Democratic Black Caucus of Florida, Trevor Mallory, is watching. We miss you. We are so excited that you have joined us. If you want to call in, but just wanted to say from your Northwest Florida Panhandle Democratic Black Caucus.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, all right, from Pinellas County. And before you do that, I want to give a shout out. We have a viewer from Pasco County too, Nikki Fighting. Shout out. What's up, cousin? I see you down there. Thanks for holding us down. Thank you for inviting people to watch us. We love that. Feel free to join us at any point in time you'd like. And again, shout out to Trevor. I appreciate that. He is in the comments as well. So yeah, go ahead, Mr. Vernon.
Okay, Mr. Vernon.
You
I got you. Go ahead.
Okay, you got me? Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
I want you to say the truth. I just know every other time you're like, look, that's not enough. But I am happy that they're coming out. Don't get me wrong. And they are right. They're coming out more, but that's not a vote.
Yeah.
Not. But I think it sparks.
I wanted Vernon.
Okay. Go ahead, Vernon.
I'm not, and I don't want, before you go, Vernon, I want to make sure that I'm not saying don't come out. Don't you go back home and say, Jill said we're not doing enough. That's not what Jill said. Jill said that she wants your activism and your outpour to follow you to the freaking ballot box where you cast a vote for somebody who is going to work for us, represent us, and fight for us. Go ahead, Vernon.
Okay, Jill. What I was saying, just like you were saying earlier, maybe you said it or Derek said it, somebody said about the drive-by honking of the horns and stuff like that. Okay. Well, people might show up, but I come from the school of actions speak louder than words. I can see these new faces and I need to see these people showing up and coming out. But what we're going to do about it? That's action. That's what I want to see. I haven't seen any action yet. I see, and I'm talking about from the Democratic Party on down to the local level. We'll show up, but we won't show out.
I was listening to Gary Newsom, and I thought he was going to preempt, Texas and redistricting, because that's what he had said. He alluded to that, I would say, or alleged that. But then he was saying they was going to wait and see what Texas was going to do. I'm like, no, we can't do that. But because if he redistricting now and they have to go to court, it might be after the 2026 election before he can do the redistricting legally, and that's why I'm saying preempt them. And if you got to go to court, let them go to court, but go to court now and already have everything in place so that you can preempt what Abbott is doing in Texas, and the same thing in Illinois and other places. Go ahead, Vern.
Isn't he doing that right now? I thought last I heard that they finna put it on the ballot in California now. And Don
Yeah,
Paul
they're gonna put it
all
on.
drawn up.
Yeah, but the initiative. I mean, they won't vote on it until 2026.
Oh, I think they're doing a special emergency
Yeah.
ballot. Like they're not waiting until 2026 to put it on the ballot. They're going to do a special call.
I thought what I heard him say yesterday that, and I could be wrong. You know, I stand to be corrected, but I thought he was saying that they were going to put it on for 2026. You know,
that's not my understanding of it. I assume I interpret him to mean that they're going to have a special election to do it. Mm-hmm. That's how I interpreted it. So
yeah,
he look at me. He's going forward with it, whether it takes to do it or not. But he going forward with it, and I think he see the gravity of it, and I think he see the urgency of it, and I think that's why he's doing what he's doing. You know,
right? And I hope that's the case. And you know, and I won't check it out again, but I hope that's the case because he's intending to run for president of the United States, and he's going to need the kind of Congress, you know, if he wins, and he got a greater chance of winning than Trump, I believe, because people see now that with these tariffs, their food is higher, clothing is higher, everything else is higher that Trump said he was going to erase. You know, he was going to, you know, make it a whole lot less than what it is. But, you know, everybody see now that that's not going to happen with the cuts to these different programs and all of that, the safety nets that we've had over the years are now being cut from underneath people. And you know, they turning people, they intend to turn us against each other, the American people against each other, black against white, whites against brown, you know, just that's the game that they're playing, a long game. And the long game has the game that we have to do, the thing that we have to do is do that redistricting now. And then if whoever win the election has to appoint more Supreme Court judges, pack the courts so these people can be stopped, like Clarence Thomas and Alito and all of them. They have to be stopped. Other than that, they're gonna continue to push the country toward dictatorship.
So we want to make sure that we're factual on our voices because that's what we do. So I just wanted to double check and fact check. And what it says is if California proceeds with redistricting, the key date to watch is November 4th of 2025, when voters are expected to decide in a special election whether to approve a new congressional map proposed by Democratic leaders. So right now, the timeline is August of 2025. The California legislature is reviewing a proposed map and related measures to authorize the redistricting process. That's happening now. By the 22nd of this month, lawmakers must approve the proposal to place it on the November ballot. And on November 4th, if approved, the voters will decide whether to temporarily allow the legislator to withdraw congressional districts, bypassing the Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission. And after November, if the measure passes, the new map would be used for the 2026 midterm elections and remain effective through 2030, after which redistricting power would return to the Independent Commission. And this, of course, is a part of the broader national response to redistricting efforts and in Texas and other states, with California aiming to counterbalance potential Republican gains by reshaping its own.
Right, and it does say also, different fact check, but same information. Gavin Newsom called for a special election to be held in November, so he's already called for it. All of that stuff that Derek just said has to fall in place for November 4th to happen the way it needs to happen. And he said he's asking them to do this before national midterms in 2026. And I know he believes that it would stay in place till 2030. You know that's not going to happen, but we just need it to be in place in 2026.
Yeah, we definitely. Yeah,
I don't care how long it lasts. I just need it in place in 2026.
But Jared, that's what I was trying to say earlier. We need to be on the offense instead of being on the defensive, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And everything that they're going to be defense, we're going to have to play the same game that they're playing. We have to get just as dirty or dirtier than what they are. I know y'all subscribe, Jill. I know y'all got on that. What's her name? Michelle Obama. Taking high crap.
When they go low, we go high.
Yeah, we high, yeah. I say when they go low, we go lower. Okay?
Yes. Now, Vernon, there's a difference. So Christina said last week, yes, she's on Michelle Obama. I just said I'm not getting in the mud of hell with y'all. I will stand by the sidelines and reach my hand in case you need to be pulled out of your mud of hell. I'm not going there. That's God's the job, but I'm going to fight. I'm going to do what's right. We have to figure it out.
But will you sit there on those sidelines and watch those folks drown in that mud? I mean, I'm seriously now. I mean, folks, that's lies the problem, Jill. Like I said earlier, actions speak louder than words. If you're just gonna sit on the sideline and watch me waddle in that mud with them, and there's more of them than me, then they're gonna drown me in that mud. So why don't you come in and help me?
So I can
that pig. Yeah, help me wrestle that pig out of that mud. Okay?
Okay.
Come on.
But that would be great if we had a collective effort, like we talked about boycotting, whatever. But since you know that's not going to happen, I just personally am not going to hell with y'all. I live on hell on earth. That's the closest I want to get to it. Y'all want to go down in hell, then that's fine. But they don't have to come in my dash house to get me because I hate hell. Go be in hell.
When they drown my ass in that mud, you're gonna see you sitting on the bank looking, and when they see you on the bank looking, they're gonna grab your leg and grab you right on in there, and you ain't no better off.
My wheelchair and pull me in too.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to. I was trying to find the clip on my phone where it was funny because you brought our forever First Lady Michelle Obama into the conversation.
Yeah. Eric Holder said, when they go low, kick them.
So it's funny because
Eric Holder said kick them. I'm with Eric Holder.
Miss Michelle Obama has a podcast. I'm sitting here trying to find it. And in her podcast, she was having a conversation with two of her guests. They're both basketball players. I forget his name. The real bright skinned dude who was I forget. But anyway, there were two basketball players, and they asked First Lady Obama are we still in the position of, you had that great quote, when they go low, we go high. Does that still apply? And she emphatically shook her head. Nope, absolutely not. And then she tried to, I think it's funny because she realized where she was and that she was on camera. And she's like, well, what I mean is that wasn't, it took it out of context. It was funny the way she did it. It's like, that was kind of out of context. It was more like, we have to be strategic with our anger and not necessarily just be mad for the sake of being mad. And so, but she emphatically said, no, we don't go, we go high, we need to go low. And Mr. Vernon, be clear, I have never been one that has subscribed to the when we go low, we go high. That's not my motto. That is First Lady Obama's motto. We all try to strive to be better in our daily lives, but that is one thing that I just could not accomplish. So that as we move forward, I've never been, when they go low, we go high. No, I'm going right there with you too.
Yeah.
So
notice I didn't say I was going to reach for Derek's hand because he's gonna be in the mud with you. So he probably holding you up because he down fighting way in the basement of hell.
We got to go down there.
I'm gonna reach for Christina hand. I know she's gonna be on the pedestal.
Stop them straight on down where they want to go.
Yeah.
Can I not be in the basement?
That go low and go high stuff, it works when you're dealing with decent people, okay?
Yeah.
But you're not dealing with decent people anymore, So, they're not playing by the rules. If they were playing by the rules, that's one thing, okay? Right. It's just like a boxing match, okay? You might accidentally do a low blow, and then the ref will will admonish you for it, then you don't do it anymore. But he continued to do low blows and low blows and low blows. What you gonna do? Only you can continue to allow that when the ref don't do anything about it. So you're gonna start doing low blows yourself. Get down. Okay. Anyway.
And I'm not disagreeing. I'm just telling you that you and Bill and those that are like, I'm gunning up and I'm ready, and that's not ever going to be me. Now, I'm also not going to let you come to my house and kill Jill without a fight. However, that's not the way, but everybody can't do the same thing. Or it's not, maybe we should all do the same thing, but it's never going to happen that way. So you're going to need those that are going to fight on the streets. You're going to need those that are going to fight in the mud. You're going to need those that are going to do whatever. As long as they're doing something, I think you don't want to admonish everybody that don't want to get in the mud with you. Or you absolutely right. We're going to your funeral because you done told everybody you don't get in the mud.
Well, Jill, can I ask you this question, okay? Just a hypothetical, just for the sake of our argument here, okay?
Okay.
Our debate here. Okay. Mm-hmm. If the Klan were to come to your house, and Jerry Hart probably heard my speech on this, if the Klan come to your house to string you up, okay?
Damn.
Are you going to allow them to drag you out and string you up? Now, you would, but I wouldn't. What I would do, I'd take out one or two. Wait a minute, listen to that. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me finish my argument here, okay? When they pull up to my house, okay, I know what's going to happen. Okay, I know I'm going to lose it in. So I'm going to take as many of them out as I can. Okay, now they're going to probably drag me out. The remainder going to drag me out and string me up. That's all well and fine. But I tell you what, when they start rolling up to Jared's house, they're going to be rolling up with 3 less people, and probably more than that, because the last time they rolled up to Vernon's house to drag him out, well, they got Tom, Dick, and Harry. So John said, well, wait a minute. I got to go back to my family now. I don't think I might want to join you all tonight. You know what I'm saying? As long as we allow that crap to happen, which we have over century, we allowed this to happen. You give them license to do what they want to do. We're not fighting back. We're not fighting. And I often really wondered about this. In the South, all those damn slaves, okay? Lord forgive me for saying that, said damn, but all of those slaves that they had, they only had a few overkeepers, okay? And it's just like this old saying about one gun can keep 1,000 people away. And y'all think I'm crazy, but I often think about, Auschwitz and when they're putting the Jews in the oven, and they got a lot of them, you got only 20 guards there, 1,000 men that lining up to take their line to go into the gas chamber. They can, 1,000 people now, you can overpower 20 people, okay? They might take out 50 of you, but 950 of you might get to walk, at least for now. That's all I'm saying is when you don't do anything, you give people license and power to continue to do what they're going to do, okay? You don't stop, just like nobody's stopping Trump. Nobody fact checks him in real time, as that's allowed him to keep that bullshit going on and on and on. When you start fact checking them and doing some things to them, you might not stop them, but you can slow them down.
Yeah, and the thing about it is the people that uphold him are the people that has the power, the real power. That's the Congress has the real power. He don't have the power that Congress has, but they are acquiescing their power over to him, capitulating with him, doing stuff because you're afraid of this one person, one inhumane person you're afraid of, because you're going to vote with him regardless of what he do. And you see him destroying this fragile democracy that we have, a republic, or whichever way you want to call it. You see what he's doing, but you continue to vote in his direction. You continue to, in order to get rid of what was the guy's name off of the front that Trump was hanging out with, that that Trump don't want to.
Jeffrey
Yeah,
Epstein.
Yeah, they shut down Congress rather than release the Epstein files. So they shut down Congress because they don't want that to come out because it is bad for Trump. But they don't want it to come out, and you shut down the Congress to keep this from happening. When they should be the one impeaching him right now for what he have done, for violating the emoluments clause, for violating the things that he have violated as far as top secrets and all of that. And if you saw him other day with that meeting in Alaska with Putin, that dude was so sorry. I mean, he was just, it was embarrassing. And they still put this guy out there. It was really embarrassing. An embarrassment for this country. But he's the leader of the free world. I don't get the logic behind it. Derek, maybe.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think we're to the point of, I think, with you, I was laughing because Mr. Bernie, you said the KKK don't think twice about going the next time to go get Mr. Jared, Mr. McIntosh. But I was like, oh, I guess they'll all pitch in to go to jail because jail ain't got no guns or ain't got no fight. So y'all go.
Wait a minute. Let me tell what Jill does have.
Like
I have an army around me. My son and them, they are like you. They love it. Okay. When Jill goes to to be honest, Jill going in her safe house underground. They ain't gonna find me no damn way. So I'm just saying. It's burn proof, it's everything. I'm underground.
Yeah, but I would burn.
What I will say is that with this is that I think it's to the point you were talking about. Mr. Verner, you usually go low and go high. That works with civilized people. I think we're dealing with not only, I don't want to even say uncivilized. I think it's just
Neanderthal.
an overwhelming amount of ignorance that has just allowed people to take place. Because I'm not going to, by no means am I going to call these people unintelligent or stupid, because I know some bright behind folks, like in every aspect of their life. I give them phenomenal credit, but for some reason they buy into this BS that MAGA and Trump are selling, and I don't know. Like I've had for a while now, since 2016, I have had difficulty trying to rationalize the person I know with their beliefs, and it's hard. And I think it's gotten overwhelmingly, I think it's not gotten better, it's gotten worse, because we are, comparatively speaking, I think those people who also voted for Trump this year, they were like, oh, well, those who found him to be a plausible option thought maybe he wasn't it won't be as bad because we've had one term and it wasn't like earth shattering in their opinion, right? But this is far leaps and bounds above anything that he's done. And again, all of this is done. We're in 7 months, 8 months into his or 7 months. We're in August, 7 months into his term or his administration. It's
right
crazy to see all of this that's happened. And as we look at it, we talked about Project 2025. We spent all year long last year talking about Project 2025 and what we should expect. But we've got to now shift our focus to Project Esther and what they're doing, what their plan is for that. And that is radical. With this Heritage Foundation stuff, we are in desperate times, and we got to start looking for there's another project that's on the horizon, right? And it's much worse, as they're saying, in 2025. We've got to do our homework and start understanding start connecting the dots again, and talking about and being able to compare last year. Like, look, we told you that they were going to cut the VA, and veterans said, no, they're not going to do that. We're veterans. They're not going to do that. And what they did, cut the VA. Like we talked about, they're cutting healthcare. No, they're not going to do that. They're not going to touch Social Security. What are they trying to do? Touch Social Security. Everything that we talked about is coming to fruition. And so we've got to just be on, at this point, I don't know what will wake people up out of the fog. I am hoping that now that we're in this season where the tariffs are going into effect, that people are going to start saying, well, wait a minute, hold up. Now you're seeing folks, because they're starting to go in and people are starting to hit. There are a bunch of folks on like TikTok and whatnot who are going in and looking at the comparatives, right? Saying, this is what the price was, this is what it is now. So with that, if you can see that, like, and relate that to, this is a direct response to who you voted for, maybe you'll start paying more attention, and this becomes he becomes a credible threat in their eyes, and the threat that we know him to be already. I don't know.
Well, Derek, let me kind of divert a little bit what you said about, well, you don't understand why people would follow Trump. Okay, well, you got to understand that the MAGA movement is nothing more than just a cult. Okay, and sometimes we fail to understand, why do people fall into cult. That number one is because the people saying what they want to hear from that person. They got a sense they want to belong to something, some senses of belonging, and so forth. Everything that Trump says and do, and you would think, I want to go back to your comment about, you think that once they wake up and see what he's doing, okay, that they'll come to the sense. No, they're not. They're not going to come to it. Okay, it's a cult, and I don't know how do you break cults. It's just you're probably not going to be. Some people kind of come to the senses. And when we think about cult, what you think about Jim Jones, for an example? Got 900 people to murder themselves. Okay, 900 people to murder themselves. So what Trump is doing, he have cultivated the world's biggest cult. Okay, he's going to go down in history as, in my opinion, as being the most he's going to go down in history, as far as I'm concerned, as another Hitler. Okay, because he's a con man, an absolute con man, and he got enough. He's charismatic enough to reach those people that thinks like him and want to identify with him, and it's just going to be ongoing until we can. I don't know how to get out of it. I just don't know how we're going to get out of this MAGA movement, because you got a lot of people that fall in, and he can't do no wrong. I don't care what he does, when he does it. Okay, they're going to support him. Okay, they're just going to support him, absolutely, unequivocally support him. So what can we do? That's what I want to know. It's just we need a regime change in this country. All I can tell you. That's the only way I can see that's out of it, is a regime change.
Yeah,
anybody there?
I'm trying to see if I want to get into this with Vernon, but Vernon, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Okay. So I just heard what you said. I wish we could play it back, because what you just said is you don't know how we can fix this, and I have my own opinions on that. But if they are truly in a cult and there is no way to break the cult, and he is so charismatic that people are just going to follow them and they're going to vote for him and whatever he says, then why in the world are you getting in the mud? if you know you're going to drown anyway. But can we stay outside of them? And I don't have to be charismatic and lie and steal and cheat and rape people, because I'm never doing that. I don't have to do that. That's what you're talking about. You want us to get in the mud and do what this man has done. And to me, that is.
You got two choices, Jill. You got two choices. Get in the mud or join the cult.
No, I don't. I got three choices. Jesus is my answer. That's all I got to do. I need him to come back tomorrow.
Tell Jesus we need him now. We don't need
everybody bowed.
Tell Jesus to come down.
Jesus is
we
the
need
Lord,
him.
So he can come. We don't want to get biblical right now, do we? If God wanted this to stop right now, Trump would be gone, if that's what he wanted.
But
there's a reason and a process and a procedure. I can't tell you what the test is. I can just tell you that all of us are in it. You choose your right, your wrong. I'm gonna choose mine, and mine's always gonna be Jesus.
I got one question. Why isn't Jesus helping us?
Jesus is helping you. You just don't know it.
Okay, well.
Yeah, so. For you to even think that's why we need to have Jesus, because you even have the question, why isn't Jesus helping you? The fact that we have breath and life and Jesus helps you every day. You wake up, your eyes open.
No, I'm talking about helping out this mega.
How much help do you need?
I need him to help get this regime out of the way.
He ain't helping you because the other people don't see that he is king. They think this guy is king, and he will let you fall just like he did the Israelites over and over and over again. Okay.
Somebody walked in the woods for 40 years before they saw the light. But anyway,
they did. But Jesus was with them the whole time. Jonah was in the whale. Jesus was there too. But Jesus was with them the whole time. Jonah was in the whale. Jesus was there too. And he was in the lion's den. Jesus was there too.
But he let him get in the lion's den.
He let him get in the whale. The way life is, because we need to understand that he is king. And I'm sorry, Jared. Let's. We done had our Sunday service. Let's go.
Yeah.
Jesus. All I can say, Jesus, we need you, sir.
There you go. And if everybody would say that, every tongue would confess, he would be here. But until that happens, it's written, it's very clear. Read the Bible, just like we read Project 2025. Where's BJ when I need him? He told us we had the Bible, the Bible. Open it, read it, understand that this is written. It says that there will be prophets and 666 and however you want to say it, that will come, and that men and women and children will follow it, even though they know that they shouldn't. And we have to understand why it happens, when it happens, and what that means, and be ready. None of that told me to go to hell, and I ain't going to hell willingly.
But some of the people are peeling off from Trump because they realize that hey, this is not right. They are losing. They're going to lose. They already losing hospitals in their areas. And now I think the last count they said would be about 800 hospitals closed in rural areas around the country. Last count because of Medicaid cuts, which has saved hospitals and rural areas, trauma centers, and all of that. So now they are seeing, and because the majority of the people that live in the far rural area are Caucasian, white people. Black people live out there too, but the majority of the people that live in those really rural areas are white people, and and they're going to lose their hospitals. And once you lose hospital, that means unemployment going to rise in that community, because now you don't have the nurses and the doctors and the people that do the cleaning of the hospitals. The people that do the delivery to these hospitals, all of those jobs are going to shut down. You're talking thousands of jobs, hundreds of thousands of jobs that's going to be lost because of the cuts that are taking place right now. When you think about Social Security, they're talking about attacking that again. The Consumer Protection Program that has been protecting us since President Obama was in office, Now Trump has, I believe, used the executive order to get rid of the consumer protection program. And that means companies and credit card companies and banks are going to start ripping us off again, you know? So it's just a whole host of things why we need to vote, why we need to be participating in the processes. And I don't know how we're going to get some people, but I think it's enough people out there. That wasn't the majority of the people that voted. You know, there was a majority that voted for him. We think. I don't even believe that he got the majority of the vote.
Me either, Jerry. I think it's been rigged. I think when it's all said and done, that it was rigged with the help of Russia. Yeah, we talking about Russia. I still believe that because I can't believe that the majority of this country would went for this bullshit that Donald Trump went after he done did 4 years of this. We see what he couldn't do. Okay, then they elect him again. I think that it was rigged. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I believe it was rigged too. The Starlink that Elon Musk then was using, we don't know how that thing worked. How many votes they peel off with that Starlink, you know? So the truth gonna come out sooner or later, but it's gonna have to be a deep investigation into this. And you know, a lot of times they don't have what it takes, but they need an independent counsel investigation of this last election. And then they are saying 9 million people that voted for Joe Biden didn't bother to vote. And then you had blacks running around talking about how good Trump was, you know, for the country. And but Trump trying to put them all back in, you know, he want to put us all back in slavery. He wants you to have them black jobs, you know, them black jobs out in the field, picking peaches and, you know,
Picking cotton like we had to do, Jerry.
Yeah.
Jerry, you know, the people that's being most impacted by it right now as we speak are brown people. They're more affected than, because you know, when they finish with the brown people, they're gonna come back. They're still doing it to the black people, but when they peel them all off, they're gonna start coming back for the black people, and then on, because they want to make this MAGA movement is about make America white again. It ain't about making it great again. That's just code word for the greatest code word for make it white again. Now, let me ask you this, okay? And maybe everybody on the panel. Brown people are most affected by this. And a lot of them voted for Trump, okay? A lot of them did. But what are they doing to help the cause, except being the doormat right now? We seeing any brown people stepping up to the plate?
Absolutely.
There are a few.
You mean locally?
Locally, probably. I don't know if.
I mean, I'm talking about even across the country.
Nationwide.
Locally, we can't do nothing hard. Locally, but I'm talking about across the country in general. What brown people are doing?
Well, there is a lot of protests taking place that you're not going to see on television unless you're watching the Rachel Maddow show. She show a lot of the protests around the country, but the rest of them don't show anything. MSNBC, you know, CNN. I mean, they didn't just stop showing anything that the public need to see. Only what Trump says and do they talk about. And they allowed him to change the subject by putting these people on the streets with by putting the military on the street. So they changed the subject from Epstein, and that's what Trump wanted. You know, Jill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had to take a deep breath, Vernon. You brought some fire out of me. So I will apologize, but not apologize, because I won't apologize for my faith, but I'll apologize if I got a little bit too into it. but maybe you should too. Anyway, I think, and I know you're going to disagree with this, but I do think if you are brown at this time, that the fear is so real. There are kids that are going to school, that are going to the nurse's office, teachers trying to hide them. I mean, it is just unreal. And because I didn't live back in the slavery time, and maybe it's what you guys went through, but I know now, watching it unfold, that I
How
can
would you think
imagine.
they are?
Huh?
You
I'm
went
saying,
alive during
I'm
slavery
saying
time.
slavery and the fight and the boycott and the bus boycott and all that. I wasn't here. I wasn't born.
God.
So I'm just saying, anybody born before the 70s and the 80s, I didn't experience that. So I can only go over my life's experience. I'm not making you guys back there with Harriet Tubman. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that because I wasn't born then, I didn't live that life. So watching it unfold the way it's unfolding, knowing that even in our communities that they are pulling people over just because they're brown and arresting all of them, that they're going into their jobs and arresting and taking them, snatching them, that kids are going to school and they are snatching them from school, that they're taking their parents and they have nowhere to go. So I don't know right now if that people are fearful, but they're fearful for their family. I don't think they're fearful of him in the White House. I think they're fearful of, what do I do? What happens when you separate? You keep the wife and the daughter here and you send the father and the son away, or you take the wife that's pregnant and you leave the rest of the family here because one of them's an immigrant and one of them's not. That is a crazy way to have to live. And so I don't know that you're going to see them. Not that they're not working and they're not fighting, but you got to preserve your life first. If they were coming after your family, I would hope, Vernon, that you're going to fight for your family before you're going to be on the TV saying, hey, I'm doing this, this, and this, so they can come snatch your family anyway. But that's the way I look at it.
Well, they should be fighting for their family right now. That's what they're doing right now.
Well,
Jill.
they are fighting for their family, but fighting for your family might not be on TV. It might be making sure that they get to come home, that you guys can actually eat dinner together. I don't know, wake up in the morning without somebody knocking on your door and snatching you out of bed.
Yeah, all I'm saying is the national, the causes that we see nationally and locally, I don't see a lot of brown people joining these causes. Is all I'm saying. If it ain't nothing but,
I would disagree, because you got, like, when I think locally, the immediate person I see on every front line is Grace Resendez McCaffrey. She is out doing it like literally every time.
person.
Well, I know, but you said there was nobody, so I'm just saying, like, there is.
And she's warning them where they're coming, how they're going, where to go, what to do.
Now, are they? And I don't believe that it's just Grace. I believe that there are others. They may not be notable people. We may not know them, but like, there's no way that Grace is doing this by herself. And if she is, God bless. I appreciate her for doing it. And I think one of the things that we've got to start looking at this as, when we look at, particularly with this thing with immigration and ICE and them snatching people up. We tend to, particularly, and I think I was kind of victim of it a little bit myself. I tended to look at this as a brown issue. This didn't impact us. But you have to remember, you got Haitians, you've got Jamaicans, you've got
Africans.
Africans, you've got everybody that's impacted. The only people now, like, unless you're from Norway, Sweden, or France, you might be all right. But even some of them are getting rounded up and shipped back too. But not certainly in the manner that we are, and it's got to be this has got to be a thing that we all should be worried about, because it's not just a them issue. Like, I think about this all the time. Like, I talked to my dad about this, because he wanted to go. They were talking about going to back. He's going back home to Barbados for something. And I was like, have you lost your mind? You can't go nowhere. And he was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, sir, you get to Barbados if you want to. You may not make it back. And he's like, well, I'm a U.S. citizen. Some of those other people getting rounded up are U.S. citizens. I would hate for you to get over there. And then we got to find an immigration attorney and you rounded and you stuck in Barbados instead of being back in the States. So where you called home where your citizenship is. And he didn't really even think, like, for someone who is not U.S. born, for him not to think about it is, to me, it kind of shows how we kind of divorced ourselves from the issue, or particularly around these ice raids. And it is something that I think we have to get back into the fights, because this is not something that we have the luxury of sitting at home and or not participating in the honking raids or whatever the case may be, and particularly on this subject. This is something that we all got to be in the field and paying for.
Yeah, and the people with ICE should not have masks on. First of all, if they are law enforcement with a badge, then that's all they need. But if we don't know who these people are. We don't know whether those are the people that was at the at the Capitol building on the 6th of 20. Well, that. So we don't know. We don't. We don't know who they are, because a lot of them been Trump pardoned all of them. So the thing about it, we don't know who whether they're kidnappers or not. There's children come up missing every day. And I'm concerned about all these black truck drivers who have been delivering, coming up dead, hung and lynched. But as soon as the police get there, it's the suicide. That's the first thing they holler. It was suicide. Now you drive all the way across the country to go to somebody else's town to commit suicide when you could have did it at home.
And how do you lynch yourself in these trees that are way above your height? Like, if I lynch myself, or at some point you would see the evidence of me trying to get up in the tree in order to do so. You just see a hanging a body of someone black, and all of a sudden it's suicide. It's crazy. Like, these things, like we talk, even if we bring this more recently and more locally, like the young boy, what is he, from North Carolina, who lost his life when he was here in Florida visiting, and he sent his mom a text and said help. And then they found him in the retention pond. Like, there have been 2 cases of this lately. Like, it is impacting us. Like, I mean, truthfully, if I got stopped by someone who was Border Patrol or claimed to be ICE and they had one of those masks, I'm going down swinging. Because to me, just like you said, if you are law enforcement, I should plainly be able to see you. Why are you hiding your face? To me, you're either ashamed or you're up to something nefarious. In either case, in either way, you put me in jeopardy, so I'm not going. So, it'll like some slow swinging, slow swinging and furniture or whatever that thing is, and flower bringing music. I'm not doing, but we have slow swinging and furniture or whatever that thing is, and flower bringing music. I'm not doing, but we have to get into the mind. Particularly is our issue, and again, I applaud Grace for not giving up. I know she's tired, because I think, to your point, Mr. Vernon, she is probably one of few engaged in doing this for the Panhandle, because she's not even doing it just for Escambia or Santa Rosa or Okaloosa County. She all over in Alabama doing this stuff too. Like, she is the Southeast region person, that's unfortunately doing this now. We've got to get some other folks engaged and involved in that fight. And unfortunately, this is one of those things that affects us all.
Derek, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. But the thing that kind of caught my interest the other day, they had the League of Women's Voter had a last week. I did cover that. In the world, that Grace and one person, his wife, 3 Hispanic people in that whole group, and most of them were white people. And I saw a couple of black people in there, and that would kind of struck me a little bit. And I just didn't see them out front. I'm not saying that they're not doing anything. I just don't see it out there on an overt level. Maybe they're doing a lot of stuff undercover and covert, but I don't know. But
so, like, I'll tell you, like, they have this whole setup. They have this whole universal signal group set up that tells people like where the raids are, like what's happening. ICE is in this area. Kind of like the neighborhood app. They've set this up for
So you might want to
people
not
of color.
put that on the
Now,
show.
yeah, I'm just saying, right. And so I'm just kidding. That's made up. I'm lying. But
Yeah.
if they did have that, it would be something that would be warning. And when you talk about fighting, making sure that you're protecting those people and ensuring them, as Jill said, make sure they come home so you know not to go down 98 in Gulf Breeze because they're stopping people on 98 and rounding people up. So you need to take I-10 and come back over on that, whatever that 2-lane bridge is. I'm just saying there are other things that, if that were happening and if such an app did exist, that would be something that everybody's participating in. And I give them kudos and credit for doing that.
And for creating it
maybe
and
they need
following
that.
it. And I will say I did talk to Grace one day, and she did say that this is something that she might have said, let me put it that way, that just tired of the honk and wave. Like it needs to be actionable or she's not participating. Even though we're pretty close, even though I asked her to go to some, she said if they're not actionable rallies, informational, educational, whatever, she's not participating. Because this has been on the radar for the last at least 5 years. Grace has been doing this for more years than that, but she was out visiting all of us for 5 years saying, hey, be mindful, be aware, and nothing. And now we want to get a rally and say, we're supporting you, we're honking and waving. That's not it. That's not what they need. And Vernon, I would probably say because of our area being what our area is, if you were able to know how many times ICE raids are really going on, you would not have been at that if you were smart, because their eyes are everywhere. So I'm just saying, even if you're a U.S. citizen, all you got to do is be brown. So you would not.
But there's so many legal brown people in this country. Okay?
But they don't.
I'm not talking about the legal.
I
hear what I'm saying. Is what they need. You see how history repeats itself.
But if you're brown,
their
you
own
do
underground.
realize that if I say
they need their own underground railroad. They need their own green book. Maybe they need to call it the brown book. But they need something.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong on that point. But I do want you to know that what is happening is that you just are riding down the road, and if you're brown enough, they're pulling you over. Doesn't matter if you're a U.S. citizen or not. Doesn't matter if you're brown and black, if you're brown and Hispanic.
We've been there and done that. And they're still doing it for black folks.
Right. And so that is the fear that they have. So we've been going through it forever. They didn't really have to worry about that, but they're doing that now and they're taking them. They didn't take us. They just harassed us. They might beat our ass, but they didn't take us and ship us to the Alcatraz and kill us. At least not in 2025. They're not going to jail.
I mean,
some of them are disappearing.
But if
they're just gone. And then they lie and say they didn't.
I'm talking about the people that are legal to do that. I can understand. Yeah, the citizens. Are they standing up for their brown compatriots that is undocumented? That's what I'm saying. If you're undocumented, Jill, I agree with you on that. You need to keep a low profile. But if you documented, then you should be speaking out. They shouldn't be sitting on the bank watching
Derek tell you that his dad needs to be concerned. He's an American citizen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're rounding up citizens. I mean, people are getting United States citizens are getting swept
every
up
day
and put into these into that.
So what are they going to do, Derek?
In South Florida?
What are they going to do? You just
every
give up.
Day,
you talked about them having a brown book or something there. I would say that in this reality, if there was a brown book, it would exist. It just doesn't exist in the form that you're used to seeing. We're in the age of apps and encrypted messaging systems. So I would argue that if it does exist, it would be in the form that we recognize.
Derek, my point is, okay, whether y'all agree with it or not, I'm not talking about those people, those hardworking people that's here undocumented, just trying to make a living in their lives. I'm talking about legal brown people that here, they ought to be doing something. They're not going to deport all. They might inconvenience them, okay, but they got They're legal U.S.
News,
citizens.
Vernon?
But
They
you know,
did. They
I
did,
know that,
several of
but that's
them.
just on a small scale. What if
Small
Dr.
scale. What is
King?
small scale? I guess
Is
it's small
Dr.
scale if
King?
it's not
What did
you.
Dr. King thought about if we didn't have that march? We didn't have that bus boycott. They're gonna put us all in jail. Okay, they put us all in jail. Somebody gonna have to take a stand somewhere. Okay, if they don't want to take a stand in the defense of their own people, what you think gonna happen to them? Okay, they
I think
need to take a more prevalent stand, in my
I
opinion.
agree with Bernie. I agree with Bernie. How you going not fight back? You know, just because we were black during the same period, they were lynching us. We was hunted by night, harassed by day, but that didn't stop us, you know.
Right.
That didn't stop us. They put us in jail, but put us in cow pens and stuff like that. But that didn't stop us. We still
You have to
continue.
do something. Yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
like
but yeah,
I feel like we're again, and we had this conversation the last time. I feel like your version of fighting back is I'm on TV. Like, look, I'm fighting. This is what you got to see. So channel 3, 5, and 10, MSNBC, CNN, and Fox can pick it up, seeing it. I think, and I strongly believe that they are doing so. It's not televised. I certainly it won't be televised where we live. WAR ain't gonna pick that up and say, "Look what's happening. Look what Hispanic and Latino activists are doing to prevent this." You're not going to do that. I don't think we're going to see that. And I think I don't know that they're. I think we're used to what our fight looks like, and saying this should be the model of fight for. And I don't know that exists. I don't know, although it's a similar concept, I don't know that employing our methodology of fight is applicable to brown communities. It may very well be. I'm not saying that it's not. I just don't know that it is. So what we did may not work the same way of what they do. Because
but
these people
they
are getting
have
picked up.
they
Like,
have the power. They
Speak
have the
for
power.
other people like you. We're not in their shoes. We have been in shoes similar and worse, but we're not them. So for us to say, it's kind of like speaking for a Republican. If you're not a Republican, you don't know. We can tell them truth. We can tell them that what they are saying and believing is not true, but you can't change their minds. You can't tell them how to walk, how to dress, how to whatever. I think that we're trying to say, hey, this is the way to do it. And there are ways and things they're doing, Vernon. You're not going to see it unless you want to go and be a brown person and go into their waves of the way that they do things. You
But like
cannot. I don't think it's fair for us to even sit here and have this type of conversation without having some of them on here to tell us what they're doing. So maybe we should invite some of them that are willing to come on to share with us what are they doing and how does this impact them. And I think
That's
we
a good
very
idea.
clearly
That's an
understand.
excellent idea. Excellent idea. Won't we
I
invite
agree.
Grace
I
and
agree
whomever?
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you that we should have some on. But by the same token, if you see what's happening to your people and you're not, boycott is a powerful weapon. They can use that. That could be one of the piece of arsenal that they can use to fight off some of the stuff that are going on. We see that the farmers in Nebraska and other places are going bankrupt because they have ran all these people off. Uh, so it's people that you see them on social media. You're crying now because they voted. There's one lady said all of them voted for Trump, and now they're gonna lose their farm. And these big farmer agro business farmers are coming in, going to buy up their land and take it. So, but they were depending on that USAID that the American buy all this food from these farmers and send it, to people, even people here in the United States, but around the world in different countries where they were feeding people. And now there are people starving to death, like in Palestine, like in the Congos. like in Eritrea and other places, Indonesia, just a whole host of places where people are going like a food and medicine. We did all that for those individuals to help. It wasn't enough, but it was enough for them to live off of. Now people are going to die from cholera, malnutrition. You see it, some of the news channel shows it every so often, but you have to have a different kind of channel. Go ahead, Derek.
Senator, you got 1 minute. No, we're at 9 o'clock now. So, do you have any book review?
Yeah, let me do my book right here. This is called The Promised Land, The Great Black Migration and How It Changed America. I hope y'all can see that. This is by Nicholas Lehman. And then I have the Footsteps by Henry Chase. Real good book. So if you want to check this book out, it's called Footsteps.
Okay. Well, we're at the end of our show. We certainly thank you for joining us these last 2 hours. We hope
this book out is called Footsteps.
Okay. Well, we're at the end of our show. We certainly thank you for joining us these last 2 hours. We hope that informational. We ask that you forth, same time, same channel. For vote by mail.